Hello, class, and happy Friday to you. As you can tell, and I think I told all of you guys on Wednesday that I wouldn't be here today. I've got a doctor's appointment, and Mrs. Olson is here with you. So she's waving right now. So you can wave back to her. All right. Stop waving. Okay. Now just smile. All right. So here we go. We have a fun little project that we're going to do to kind of end out our year here a little bit. And I don't even have a due date on it right now because we're going to start it. And it's something that you can kind of work on in the background because when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to get into our Mayas, Incas, and Aztecs unit. But this is going to be a separate grade on our grade card for fourth quarter. And the grade is called Global Collaborator. And it's where you think about things around the world and see what you can do to solve it. And this one that we're going to talk about is something called a food desert. And you may not have thought about this too often, but what happens in our big cities is there's really no fresh vegetables there. There's no way to get good meat and produce because typically in the middle of a big city, there really aren't any grocery stores. And people have to go through a lot of work just to get to a grocery store to get that fresh food if they have the resources to get it. So hopefully there's a bus line or a subway track or something that will take you there. Kansas City has food deserts. And if you look at this map that's showing up here on this page on the board, there's food deserts all over the place. All of these really dark areas, the black and the red, show big areas where there's a food desert. And a lot of these are big cities. Like this is Phoenix. This would be around Louisiana, Mississippi. Some of these are rural. Like if you look in the middle of Kansas, there's food deserts out here too for people that are in the middle of farmland. So a food desert simply means that there's no way to access good fruits and vegetables. You can't get whole grains, low fat milk, or other foods that make up a healthy diet. Many Americans that are living in rural, minority, or low income areas could be part of a food desert, and they may be unable to access affordable, healthy foods, leaving their diets lacking essential nutrients. Now, studies have already shown that if you live in a food desert area, that your survival in life is shortened. Can you imagine? Picture this. Now, as kids, we might think it's fun, but if you had to live this way your whole life, you wouldn't be very healthy. That a lot of times the people that are living in these big cities, the only way that they're getting food is at their corner convenience store. Like think about if you had to go over to Quick Trip every day for your food. Now, luckily, our Quick Trip, you can find some healthier options, but most gas stations or convenience stores are going to have prepackaged food that either has a ton of salt in it or lots of sugar, foods that taste really tasty, but they're not very good for you. So a lot of people are living on that rather than eating healthy fruits and vegetables. And I want to show you a video here to kind of start us out. And this will talk to us about one lady's journey just to go get fresh food. And believe it or not, this isn't just one lady's journey. This is the way it is for a lot of people who live in the inner city. So let me play this video here for you.
Got the bag. This is Toni Lawson. She lives in the southeast part of Washington, D.C., a predominantly poor neighborhood.
I got the bag.
Your bag?
Yeah, the shopping bag.
Do you want to go grab it?
Yeah, because I don't have any money to buy bags.
Okay.
If, like Toni, you live in a lower-income community, have no access to a vehicle, and live more than a half a mile away from the grocery store, you live in a food desert.
Try not to miss the bus.
Toni retired from a career in the insurance industry 10 years ago and receives food stamps on the 6th of every month.
I don't think this was an accident, not to build grocery stores in this area because the people here. It's not just about Black people, it's about poor people.
Okay.
For destination,
Tony is one of more than 23.5 million Americans who live in a neighborhood which the USDA calls a food desert. That means they have limited access to healthy, fresh, and affordable food. For Tony, getting groceries requires traveling 2 miles with the help of 2 buses. It takes 40 minutes each way. It's a struggle to get there, especially when you're 71 and have to carry a week's worth of groceries back home without a car. In Washington, more than 80% of food deserts are located in the neighborhoods with the highest poverty rates and where mostly Black residents live. In whiter and wealthier parts of town, there are plenty of big box grocery stores and independently owned supermarkets. But in Southeast DC, leading chains don't feel like there's enough money to be made in those poorer neighborhoods. The higher rate of crime in Southeast is another deterrent. So if you want to buy food in Southeast DC, you generally have to get fast food or go to a convenience store. That leaves 150,000 people in the area in a food desert.
Now we're calling it what it is, food apartheid. It's something that's planned. A desert is natural. It's manufactured by the planet. This is something that's planned. And it's obvious.
Tony buys her food from multiple grocery stores, searching for the best deals. Here she is at Giant, her closest grocery store, trying to find some staples on sale.
There are not a lot of places in the area where I live that I can go and buy food. What I do is I get my bulk when I get my stamps. I run all over the city. Even though the Giant is here, I don't patronize the Giant very often because it's expensive. So I'm running all over the city.
Tony is tired of traveling across the city hunting for food. She wants more healthy food options for everyone in the neighborhood. So she's training to be a community advocate, pressing the DC government to provide incentives that will attract more grocery stores to come here. Her goal is simple.
I've been in Ward 8 21 years, and we have not had a full-service supermarket for that entire time. There's always been a break. In my area, I want to see more places for people to shop.
For NPR, I'm Sasha Ann Simons in Washington.
All right, so we can see right there the problem that many people have living in these cities where the food desert causes them significant issues on just how to go get food. So when we say down here at the bottom, how is this a problem? Well, it's a problem because there's not healthy food there. And so we're going to look at a couple of strategies to help get some healthy food there. So it says, in order to bring fresh, affordable food to the food desert, people are working towards establishing what's called urban farms. Remember, urban means downtown. These farms are ways of producing fresh food in our urban city areas, and the following are different ways cities are starting to produce and distribute fresh food. So backyard gardens, greenhouses, gardens that are up on rooftops, vertical farming, animal husbandry, and aquaponics or hydroponics. Animal husbandry is something that's come along a lot where people can now house chickens and things like that, not only in your neighborhoods, but in central parts of downtown. Many cities have decided that they will have chicken coops that everybody can come work at and get fresh eggs that way. It's a great way to do it. So your job today, and for the next several days, whenever we have time, is you're going to go through each of these slides and answer them. So you'll answer what's a food desert and why we have that problem. So you should already know what a food desert is. And are there any food deserts in Kansas City? And does this surprise you? You're going to have to probably Google that and see if Kansas City, in fact, has food deserts. And I can tell you already, yes, they do. But you need to show me where. So remember, food deserts mainly happen downtown in the bigger part of the city. Some of the research I've done for you, some of it you're going to fill in on your own. Like, what is rooftop farming? You're going to have to find out what that is. And it's pretty much what it says, putting a garden on a roof. How do these farms help solve these problems in food deserts? Are rooftop farming, is that a perfect solution? Why or why not? And it's not every roof is flat. So you couldn't always have a rooftop farm on every apartment building because there may not be a way to do it. And then I want you to try and find a rooftop farm organization and talk about how they've solved the whatever problem they have in their area. So there are big rooftop farms around the United States, and they've been helping out people in their area. Hydroponics, I did a lot of this research for you simply because hydroponics is big with a lot of things now, not necessarily trying to solve the food desert problem. So I put in a couple of videos that you should watch. I'm going to show you just a piece of this one, and it's from one of my favorite shows since I'm old called This Old House. And this is farming. The technology has come so far to where now you can farm right inside your house on your countertop. Now you guys can look at this whole video yourself because I've linked it in here. But basically you get these little seed pods, you put it in there. There's water in this little reservoir here. And then this is a light that goes around there, and you plug it in and set it on your kitchen countertop. And in just a few weeks' time, a couple of weeks, you'll start growing great vegetables. Look at that. You can grow tomatoes, lettuce, all kinds of things right there in your kitchen. Now, that's brand new technology, which is helping to solve the problem of people not being able to get fresh fruits and vegetables downtown. Another one is with hydroponics, there's organizations. Look at this. There are some cities that have set up full-on factories for growing fruits and vegetables. These are in your bigger cities like New York and Boston. I don't know that Kansas City has anything like this yet, but what a great example of how to grow things indoors. And then they take these fresh fruits and vegetables and they're able to share them with their community right there, the people who need it most. A lot of these things are like community gardens where other businesses have gotten behind it. And I know that Kansas City has a community garden down by Crown Center that if you live down there and you donate some of your time to that garden, weeding and other things, then you can take home fresh fruits and vegetables there whenever those are ripe and ready to go. So a lot of this information has already been done for you. You're going to do this research here on this slide. So basically, every slide that you see that has blanks, you're going to do this on your own. So you're going to talk about putting an end to food deserts. You're going to talk about your ideas for helping our inner cities. And then your biggest thing here that I'm grading on is you're going to put together your own slideshow on these next 3 slides. And this is what it has to do. On the slideshow, you're going to tell me what food deserts are. You're going to tell me about Kansas City and our own food deserts. And you're going to tell me about how we can solve the problem. We've talked briefly about hydroponics. We've talked about rooftop gardens. You guys have looked into other ways to get fresh fruits and vegetables downtown. And then you're going to make that presentation on just these 3 slides right here, and then turn it in on Schoology. So you guys can all find this right on Schoology. I have it labeled as Global Collaborator Project. Now remember, it's not due today, it's not due tomorrow, it's not even due next week. This is something that as we have time at the end of class, because our next unit's not going to be real big, and I'll say, all right, we have 20 minutes left, let's go ahead and work on this Global Collaborator Project. And then you guys can work on it. Today, you only have a little bit of time. Some of us are going to the library. Red 2, 3, you guys are going to the library next week. So you'll get to do it next week at the library. But Red 2, 3 will have the full class time to work. But the rest of the other 2 blocks today are only going to have maybe 20 minutes or so. So use your time wisely. Ask Mrs. Olson if you have any questions, but I know that you guys are a great group of kids and you're going to do just fine. If you're working around the room, then your voices need to be at the lowest whisper possible. In fact, you should really just be working on your own. If you want to listen to your own music, you can, and you may be researching where you're going to be looking at YouTube videos anyway of rooftop gardens and things like that. So you may as well have your headphones on for that. Anyway, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and I'm hoping to hear a great report from Mrs. Olson, which I'm sure that I will. All right, guys, take care, and we will see you next week.